Hello everyone. I wanted to take some time to talk with you today about the strategic planning process that we've been engaged in over this past school year, the 24-25 school year, and talk specifically about how it's already impacting and it will continue to impact and improve teaching and learning in our classrooms. This school year's comprehensive process under the leadership of our superintendent, Dr. Sampson, and our insightful and invested Board of Education members started with our mission statement. All strategic planning conversations start with the mission. Our mission makes three promises. The first is that all students will be engaged in and challenged by their learning. The second is that students will learn to regard learning itself as a rewarding activity and as the starting point for anything that we ever do to reach our goals or to solve problems. The third is that all students will grow to become responsible citizens, ready to meet the challenges of not just a diverse local community, but state, nation, and globe as well. Now, mission statements for schools, or really for any kind of organization, are just words unless we have a really deliberate process to put them into action. In Mamaroneck, we looked at our mission, and what emerged from our mission statement were three priorities for action. The first is personalization. That is that all students will have the opportunity to engage in deep, authentic inquiry learning that follows their strengths and their interests. The second is mentorship, that all students will have opportunities to have strong, empowering relationships with the adults in our district, but also with one another, and that they serve to empower others through their relationships. And the third is expertise, and in particular, the expertise of all the folks who work with your children here every day. We have to unlock and empower the expertise and passion of our educators. We have to make sure that we're providing them with the tools and all of the information that they need to make decisions for each student, each and every day, in each and every classroom. We're purposefully calling this a strategic framework instead of a strategic plan. And the reason for that is, in a traditional strategic plan, a 3, 5, 10-year plan, it starts to read like a catalog of things that we want to do. We all know, and we've learned in education in particular over the past 10 years, that when we do that, we're making assumptions about the world down the road that we can't make. In a framework, we're still keeping our eyes on the goals, but we have to do the work day to day to take steps ever toward those goals. We have to make sure that our steps are aligned, and we have to make sure that we're in a position that's nimble enough to respond to changes as they occur. We have next steps, and through all of that, we'll be looking at outcomes, not just whether or not we did things, but the actual outcomes of the things that we did to decide what to do next. Let me talk a little bit about some of the specific steps that we're already taking and some of the things that we see in our near future. First of all, in the high school, you've seen the increasing number of advanced placement courses. You've also seen that those courses are now being offered at grades lower than 11th, so that we can offer opportunities for all students to express their strengths as soon as they can. In other grade levels, we're offering additional summer opportunities for ramping up into higher coursework, and also to support students through the college application process. Moving into next school year, we're planning to make several adjustments to the elementary school bell schedule, which you'll hear more about soon. Those adjustments will not only allow us to offer the needed services for students in a much more streamlined and efficient way, but will also allow us to explore and add many new enrichment opportunities for your students. We'll also continue to build on opportunities to allow students to work through their passions toward district and state requirements. There's no better way to achieve personalization than to follow our students, their interests, and their strengths toward their diploma. Two of our flagship programs are our 12th grade internship and our 5th grade capstone. We've made a lot of changes to both of those programs this year to highlight the mentorship opportunities that they represent for our students, both with experts in the community and experts in the classroom, and the opportunities that those give for our students to reflect on their learning and their growth in those relationships. We look forward to making even more changes next year as we bring in additional experts and make stronger connections to community partners. Our project to departmentalize fifth grade this year brought more of our teachers in touch with each of our students, providing more mentorship opportunities and more opportunities for strong connections. We'll continue that work into next year. This year also marked a renewed teaming effort at the middle school. That will continue into next year as well, as teams of teachers work together to provide mentorship and guidance to each and every student in the building. When we view personalization and mentorship together, we come up with all kinds of interesting opportunities to grow our efforts for our students. This year, for example, several of our Oprah program students in the high school trained seventh graders to be mentors to fifth graders working on that capstone project. Not only did that give everybody an opportunity to experience mentorship, but it allowed our fifth graders to dive even more deeply into the subjects that were important to them. And in terms of personalization, it also gave them relationships and friendships that they can carry into middle school that they might not have made otherwise. Empowering the expertise of our educators, that third priority that comes out of our mission, doesn't involve just things that happen out of view behind the school walls. These things impact what you see as families and what our kids see each and every day. First off, we've been working with experts across the country to not only map our curriculum more coherently, but also to introduce much more common assessment. More common assessment this year in elementary literacy will lead to additional common assessment in writing in both elementary and middle school, and will ultimately result next year in the administration of the PSAT for all of our students free of charge. Not only will they be able to take it just once, they'll be able to take that test several times during their educational journey so that we can get the maximum amount of information from those assessments that we can. Data is one of the key things that's important to our efforts to empower the expertise of our teachers. In addition to providing more data in a common way, we also need to provide systems and tools for our educators to access and analyze data. A big part of our work this summer will be to prepare the district to implement a data clearinghouse, which will be a treasure trove of information about each of our students, and it will be available to all of the professionals who work here. It will also ultimately impact not just the work we do with your children, but also how we report and talk about that work with you. So as we move forward, changes in the way that we grade students, changes in the way that we report on the progress of students through report cards. Our process has been marked by the participation of staff, parents, and our students, and that will only continue. Our students are, after all, our chief clients in this work. Over the past 2 school years, several students, 12th graders, have been working with us on this strategic planning process through their internship, and they've been instrumental at every step in helping us gain as much insight into student needs and to gather the voices of their peers, and not just their peers in the high school, but students from the middle school and the elementary school as well. Jahim and Walker are 2 of our star students who have been working closely with us on the strategic planning framework. They've been giving us a lot of insight and gathering a lot of feedback from their friends.
The framework overall has a lot of aspects, but a piece of it that I particularly liked was how specialized it was and specific to basically cover each student's specific need. Richard Elmore's instructional core, which focuses on student, teacher, and content. And these 3 pillars kind of act as a foundation to a student's academic career and their ability to engage with the content. So the strategic frameworks focus on that as a kind of basis to building up students who may have a variety of different challenges. I thought was very valuable and critical, especially when talking about education.
I look forward to bringing you a lot more conversation with these 2 young adults as I sit down with them and really go in depth into not only our process, but the framework itself, the assumptions it makes, and the goals that it has for our students. Watch for the next Curriculum Matters podcast episode for that conversation. Thank you for watching, but most importantly, thank you for your partnership. Have a wonderful summer, and know we're ready for the 25-26 school year.